Cauldron is a RPG that doesn't do things traditionally when it comes to levelling up your characters. Whilst you may have overworld maps and you will have turn-based battles and you'll have characters and quests and villages and all kinds of perils of doom, you won't be necessarily earning XP through battling through enemies and going through the grind. Instead, you'll be leaning into minigames, and there's 6 of them, and the more you grind through those minigames, you'll then unlock currency for that minigame or resources, which you can then use to level up the minigame's skill tree, which then means you'll be able to gather more and bring back your resources to the titular cauldron in the centre of your map. Doing this will then upgrade your characters all for a level up, but also for your party. And it's this that you'll be spending your time grinding on, not necessarily the turn-based battles, and that's what makes Cauldron very unique. In Cauldron you'll play as a bunch of heroes. There's over 20 of them, and they're very class specific, and they're broken down and really fragmented. So you'll have a healer and the person that cleanses status ailments as 2 separate characters. A buffer called Buffy, and a debuffette that debuffs the enemies versus Buffy that buffs your party are again 2 separate characters. The ice versus the fire versus the lightning, for example, they're all separate as well. And so you'll be picking and choosing which 8 usually characters you will be putting into your party to take into battle. The order of where you place them is crucial because you can have 3 lines of attack, middle and like defense in the background, and they will kind of shield and take cover for each other. So you might want to put the tankier ones to the front, for example, and the more ranged ones like your archers towards the back. However, you can still manipulate and map out all of these characters as they upgrade through the things that you bring to the cauldron to level up your characters in a variety of different ways. So you can lean into their health, their dodge, their attack, their speed of delivery of attack or turns, and they'll all have their own unique skills as well, which you can level up into as well. Your party has an overarching energy and power meter, which you can then choose which characters will take their turns to spend that energy and special power ability. And so again, if you level into those, that will be very helpful too to make big powerful attacks. But Cauldron is very element specific, and so your builds will need to swap in and out regularly to make sure that as you go around the world map, unveiling the darkness and clearing it by going into the different battles, battling the enemies, and when you clear it, it then removes the darkness from the map and you can traverse on that piece of map as you go around. You'll want to just keep switching things in and out to match the elements of the battle that you've got coming up ahead. Each battle is given a rating score, and you'll see your party is given a rating score as well, and that will help you determine whether or not that battle is going to be fair or not, or whether you need to go back to the mini-games to do some grinding to make sure that you can then earn enough resource to level up your characters, upgrade their skill trees and your party's overall skill tree, and then go back into the battle more prepared. Alongside this, you'll also unlock various objects which your party can all equip, and that might help you out a little too. And these, surprise surprise, have upgradable trees as well as you complete various feats in the game, so they get more and more powerful, which can really turn the tide sometimes in battle as well. So what about these mini games? Because they are so crucial to this game, and they're so simple, but the way how Cauldron does incremental gains and adding in more complexity and just throwing more at you keeps you coming back for more. So the best one I would say is probably the action roguelike ripoff of Vampire Survivors, except it's all the characters in the game diving inside a minecart rolling around a dungeon. There's loads of different floors. Each floor then gives you different enemies from the game that you've done in the turn-based battles appearing and running around. And what I really like is the re-theming of all of the characters in this to be able to fire out all different kinds of weapons and level themselves up to level 5, where they then get like a special ability, for example. Now, each minigame has its own skill tree, and these are huge and very incremental game-like for me. And this is where the dopamine hit for Cauldron comes in, because in that minigame you'll start off with just room for one person in the minecart. Then you'll unlock the ability to have two in, but then you'll be able to unlock the speed of the minecart to go faster, or maybe the dash ability gets unlocked and then you can dash further and get more dash per run, or it could be you increase the HP, or it could be that you unlock some special abilities and then the power of those and the length and duration of them, and it just gets incrementally bigger and bigger and huger. But then that unlocks more levels for you to play and more choices and more things for you to do. So that just balloons out. And the same approach is taken for every other minigame too. So if you go to the apples in the orchard minigame, initially it's just collecting apples in a basket, but very soon slimes will appear up top and start shooting you. And if you shoot and kill them, they drop what are bad apples. If you then hit the bad apple, that then explodes to create golden apples that are worth way more than a standard apple. But you can then unlock lasers for your basket so that you can then start blowing up all kinds of things and then creating more golden apples, thus increasing your yield. The fishing game is very similar. You start off with very weak fish that are just only awarding a couple of points, but then you'll get golden fish that are worth 10 instead of 1, for example. Or you can then unlock mines that will then clear out massive crabs that will start chasing you around and ruining your fish hook. Then there's like the dig dug drilling and digging game where you'll get a certain amount of rocks, but then you'll unlock gems, for example, or different ways to create bombs to explode things. And this continues on and on throughout the 6 different mini games, and then you'll get puzzle variants of them too, which will then unlock even more kind of upgrades for you to consider for your whole party. And it's just really well implemented. For something that looks so simple on the surface, they take it so deep. And this is what kept me coming back time and time again to Cauldron, because it's the perfect pick up and put down and play game. The other really cool thing around this is that you don't have to choose to grind if you don't want to. And so what the game does is it takes the average of your 5 best scores in each of the mini games and runs it almost like an auto-collect timer in the background. So you can gather resources if you're busy doing something else in the game, like the turn-based battles. And so it incentivizes you to do a few upgrades, go and play it a few times to increase your score, go away, leave it for a bit, come back, collect what you've got, use that to upgrade something else, or maybe put it into the Cauldron to level up your team, and go again. And it's a small little gameplay loop, but because you're doing it 6 times so often and seeing the gains, it's just keeping coming back for more and more and more. The other really cool thing about the Cauldron as well is that there is meta progression in this game. You'll complete it in standard mode, but as you go through the game further and further, you'll unlock different varieties of the game, including playing it entirely in idle mode or playing it entirely without actually killing an enemy, because what you can do is, instead of going into battle, if the battle's too hard, you can save up enough resources to bribe the enemies in that part of the world to go and leave. And yes, some of those barriers to entry are going to be really high and grindy for the bosses, for example, but you can choose to play nice instead and just bribe your way all the way through. So again, lots of different ways to play, and it's up to you how you want to play it. When it comes to negatives, the story and its overarching plot is very cookie cutter, although I think the game doesn't really focus on that, so it's not too much of a deal. But the main issue that I had with Cauldron is around performance, and it's all to do with visual effects. In the menu, there's lots of different effects that you can turn on or off, and they were on by default. And so the first few times I tried to play this game, I couldn't actually get it to work properly because it was just bugging out and grinding to a halt. And that kept happening until I turned every single visual effect off. And so everything that you see in this review is with everything turned off effects wise, because it was the only way how I could run it. And that feels very odd to me with a PC that cost a lot of money and is only 7 weeks old. So I'm not quite sure what's gone on there. Very odd. But yeah, my advice to anyone, if you're running into performance issues with this game, turn off all the effects. The game then runs peachy afterwards. So yeah, a really interesting mashup of RPG, mini-games, incremental stuff, and a Vampire Survivors clone hiding in here for good measure. This is not your usual RPG fare, and it's all the better for it. Cauldron is out now.